The cultural difference, especially the working cultural difference, are very easy to notice, I think, for all of us foreigners in Korea. Try not to fight them, but just try to accept them, to understand them, to become some sort of part of them if you're planning to stay long term. Hello, my name is Evghenii Godunov, but usually I go as Eugene. I'm originally from Republic of Moldova. I'm 29 years old. I've been studying abroad mostly, like in Romania, in Portugal for a year, and I'm in Korea since 2014. Right now I'm freelancing in video production field. Besides that, I'm an artist sometimes. I participate in some artistic residencies, work on some art projects sponsored by Korean government or Korean entities. Sometimes I work on music production, DJing, and sort of those kind of creative field. My major was totally different from what I do now. Both my bachelor degree and my master's degree was in environmental science and engineering. Particularly during the master degree, during the graduate school here in Korea, was more focused on molecular microbiology. Lately, I think people tend to change their field of work based on the requirements of the economy. So I decided just to follow my passion and try myself in the field of creation of content, of art projects or music, and I had to go through a bit of a hard times to learn new things which I never learned, but based on the fact that I was passionate about what I'm learning, it was actually a very pleasant and pretty fast experience to go through some online courses, to find some coaches who can train me and who can help me to develop my skills in the totally new field. I think in the beginning, when I was starting to work in this field, I would sort of agree to many kinds of work just to gain enough experience, but after some point you realize that as a creative person, as a creative mind, you really want to push your own ideas into the work you're doing. So I think lately I'm trying to work with people who can allow me that sort of small freedom to push my own vision, to push my own ideas into the production of a video or of an art project. I think it all starts with my first visit to Korea when I came as a tourist in 2012, I guess. For me, it was kind of the first time to come to a huge city like Seoul, and for me it was like really impressive to meet a new culture, to meet new people, to see lots of opportunities, lots of technological advances comparing to my country, for example. So for me, it kind of became a plan back then to come back to Korea and maybe study here and maybe try to work here. Some things which we all worry about when we move to a new place. And I don't really think it relates only to countries, but also maybe between companies or workplaces. We also have this worry about how we're going to perform or what other people are going to think about us. But because I had sort of a longer experience here with studying, just traveling, I was kind of ready to know what I will get when I will start working. Especially the working cultural difference are very easy to notice, I think, for all of us foreigners in Korea. Probably the biggest thing is the hierarchy, which is like very strongly visible here, and this huge dependence of regular workers to their superiors, and this huge respect they have to give to them. So when I was doing my master course as a researcher in science, I noticed that this hierarchy is kind of delivering the information from students to the professor kind of slower than I'm used to. If you're a master degree, you have to communicate with your PhD students, colleagues, then you have to communicate with the lab manager, then to the research professor, and then maybe somehow it will get to your main professor, who will either approve your idea or deny it. So I can see a disadvantage in that system because the information passes kind of slower than we would like to see it passing. And the most common thing and the most unusual to me thing is the pali-pali working culture of Korea. Like sometimes I feel that whatever is happening, whatever I'm doing, even if I'm doing it fast enough, still I can get like a faster thing. This part of the corporate culture is a little bit sometimes a little bit disturbing, and sometimes needs to be just adjusted to a right tempo. To finding the balance between speed and quality is like really important, I think, which needs to be slightly adjusted sometimes. About the advantages, I think Korean working culture is like so tough and so powerful because people really work a lot. I think the main advice from my point of view is that if you live in a different country, it doesn't have to be especially Korea, but maybe the Asian countries like Korea, Japan, or China have this different working culture, different lifestyle comparing to European countries or any other countries. So I guess it's important to stay open-minded and just to be ready for some cultural differences you're going to experience either at your workplace or in your social life, and just be ready for them and try not to fight them, but just try to accept them, to understand them, and to become some sort of part of them if you're planning to stay long term, especially. I think for most of the people going through the first interviews is really anxious and really worrying. And for me it was the same. Like first projects or the first jobs I was applying here, of course I wasn't that confident about how I would perform and what the employees would look like in me, because I just never did that before. So, but after first tries, which were either successful or not, I realized that people who are interviewing you about a job position really want to see your confidence. They really want to understand that it's okay that you don't know something, but if you're willing to learn, if you're willing to improve, then you're going to be good. So those things I learned through my first tries to get a job or get involved into a project. So I've been here for like 6 years, and I don't really speak Korean, to be honest, which is like I'm ashamed of that a little bit, but still, it just the message here is that you can live and you can work even if your Korean language is not that good. Of course, it's like a huge advantage, I think, if you know Korean, not only for your workspace, for your job, but also for your social life, for communicating with people and being part of the cultural world of Korea. But I think when the companies are looking for foreign employees, they know that you might not be perfect in Korean, and sometimes it's something they're looking for. They're looking for an English speaker probably to work for the international markets of their company. I think my dream is just to live a happy life. And for me, it means, of course, like my family relationships, my friendships, but also my my passions and my success in my work. So currently I'm working in this artistic video production thing, and I think I would really like to improve it. I would really like to make it more serious, establish a good team of friends and people who would work with me together, and to make it like a good, fun experience, not only in Korea but in general, internationally, let's say like that. I think we all know that this year was very strange and confusing, probably for many people, for ones less, for others more. But independently of your situation, if you're like looking for a job or if you're going through some hard times because of the current state of affairs in the world, I would recommend to stay open, to stay confident in your own power, in your own knowledge, in your own experience, and just try to do things which seem hard, try to do things which seem impossible, because I don't think many things are impossible. I think with some effort and with confidence, we can all achieve what we really want to do. Get your job with Job Pass Korea.